it appears to be, I'm closing this door so dust doesn't get in here, but it appears to be yet another Tuesday, I think. Yes, Tuesday. Like I've always said, there's a couple of reasons I make videos. One of them is all the information stuck in my head about fixing wheelchairs doesn't do anyone else any good unless I share it. So that's one of the things. But the other one is kind of daily life and trying to figure things out. And I feel like more recently, I've been starting videos and live streams by saying, I'm not in a very good mood. Well, today's one of those days where I'm just trying to maintain. We all have to do that from time to time. As many of you know, there's a lot of turbulence and turmoil going on currently with a lot of things in the background. And, well, it takes a bit of work to get through some of it. In the past, I've spoken about hypervigilance and some of the things it involves and whatnot, but I'm kind of realizing something. So I had all the stuff with a couple of friends recently passing, and then the power soccer team is currently on the way back from nationals in Indiana. I didn't think it was going to be something I would have trouble with, but apparently watching them play, I was kind of like, eh. I mean, obviously I wish I was there, but with the hypervigilance, you kind of, some people have it, some don't. Sometimes it's situational, sometimes it's like, you know, learned as a sort of necessity to get through life. However you ended up with it, you kind of start realizing sometimes that you're not paying attention to yourself. You're constantly keeping track of everything going on around you, and your brain doesn't take the time to realize how you're feeling and how you're doing. And over the last few days, I've kind of realized that, well, yeah, I'm not, I need to pay more attention to stuff, you know, mental health and all that, but at the same time, I'm not quite sure how to. I've been hanging out with friends a lot over the past week or so. Any chance I get, you know, someone will come over here or I'll go over to their place, because I figure interacting with, you know, other humans, well, we'll say friends, is healthy. Now, what I'm doing today, I don't know if it's healthy or not, but I've found a light sprinkling of distractions is very handy at times. Obviously not negating other stuff you should be doing, whatever that may be, I don't know. But anyways, I'm waiting for Amazon to show up. There's some cool little sort of IoT communication devices that I've been eyeballing for at least 6 years now. And I bought a couple of them and we're gonna play around with them. So today's all about distractions, but at the same time being cognizant that you do have to work through things and grief and whatnot. Everyone does it differently. Faking it and pretending to ignore stuff is kind of my public facing default, but then I kind of deal with it on my own. But anyways, I'm just kind of trying to explain that what you see in the videos is not necessarily an accurate representation of real life, but at the same time, I try to have that come through. So anyways, I'm kind of babbling about a lot of this, but Amazon's going to be here soon and we will check out this stuff and kind of play around with it. And I'm sure I'll have more thoughts about this. I think I need coffee. Okay, Amazon has arrived. Get all this stuff out of the way here. By the way, this is the Home Assistant machine that I was using in the bus. I've now pulled that out of there. It's kind of a cool Nest Pi 4 case. You put the hard drive in this little cartridge and it slides out. But anyways, there's that thing and the little USB backup power supply I was using for it. But we have this. And the cool thing is, lithium battery warning. Low camera angles like this are always the worst. Now, one of the things I've always been interested in is sort of RF or decentralized communication, or off-grid communication, as it were. It kind of goes into the whole prepper thing. I'm not part of the movement, as it were, for that. But there's this thing called LoRaWAN, or Meshtastic. It's its own communication protocol that here in the United States operates on the lower to mid 900 megahertz range. And what I ordered was 2 of the little pre-configured communication nodes. It uses packet communication, and the idea is you pair these things with Bluetooth to your phone, and they have a small transmitter in them, and they send out packets of info. And they mesh with other devices that are in the area. And seeing as how this has gained popularity, I actually have no idea in this area if anybody's using these or not, but these things have gotten significantly cheaper now. I did buy these on Amazon because I wanted them overnight. So a 2-pack was like $59. There are cheaper ways to go about it if you don't mind waiting. I needed something last night to distract myself, so I ordered these. They come as a kit, you have to assemble them. But yeah, we're going to take a look at it. You download an app on your phone, either iOS or Android. You pair these things to them, and then they create their own mesh network. Now, I got 2 of them, which is nice, but these are considered nodes, I suppose. I'm going to have to find a good video that explains what LoRaWAN and Meshtastic is. It's used in a lot of, what do you call it, Internet of Things, I guess, or automation type environments. It was kind of an industrial thing. But it's trickled down to users that want to communicate when they're out hiking in the woods or with other people, or is just kind of a hidden community thing, as it were. Because this does not rely on the internet whatsoever. It's completely all hosted. Well, yeah, decentralized. Let me grab another camera real quick, and I'm going to take a look at this a little closer and see what we've got here. We have to assemble these things. Wouldn't you know it, I got to organizing stuff again the other day, and I can't find the camera mount that I would have used for this. So anyways, we'll just deal with this. So we've got 2 of these little radio nodes here. They come with these injection molded housings, and looks like we've got sort of a screen that sticks over the top. So these are Maker Hawk. I think the boards run with the Heltec firmware. But let's take a look here. We should have the boards and antenna and a battery. Yeah, here's our little LiPo pack. It's 1100 milliamp hours. Maker Hawk. Oh yeah, so it's the Heltec LoRa 32. So this is based on an ESP32 with a custom little board they spun up that has the communication radio on it. And we have a little itty bitty connector there. I think these are roughly the same antennas as Wi-Fi. So I was looking at buying, yeah, so we've got this little antenna, and then we've got this one and an adapter. Yeah, these are just SMA. Oh, is that bent? I just realized down inside this antenna is bent. I don't know if you can see that pin there. Glad I noticed that, but I think I can just use a Wi-Fi antenna on these. All right, I do not recall right off if these things come pre-flashed or not, so I'm just gonna connect one of these to power and see what we get. I'm going to connect the antenna though, because I don't know if the radios in these are susceptible to damage without the antenna connected. Let's give this thing some power and see what kind of firmware it's currently running, if any. And it looks like, oh, Wi-Fi setup, scan start, and it found a bunch of Wi-Fi networks. Oh wait, LoRa mode 0. All right, it appears as though we do have to flash this thing with the Meshtastic software. I wonder if I can bend this broken antenna thing back. Don't pry with razor blades, kids. Oh, and it snapped off. Let's get ye old Windows computer fired up here, and the flashing process for these, to my understanding, is fairly simple. Let's select our target device, I suppose. ESP32S3. Then we're going to choose stable, most recent. Press and hold boot while plugging it in. Yeah, sure, we'll put the web UI on there also. Hey, there we go. It's actually connected to it, and it's doing things. I'm reading the notation here on the screen. It talks about bundling the web UI. Maybe it's not something I want to do, but luckily we have 2 of these, so we'll do it on this one and then not on the other one, and see if that makes a performance difference. I'm just playing around with this. I have not messed with it before, so instead of going through all this setup stuff, I'm just going to flash this, get it paired to my phone, and get it working. Figure it out on this one. Then on the next one, we will build that up and put it in the case, and I'll show you how I do that, because this is a lot of fumbling around right now that's pretty incoherent. I'll be back. All right, we've got this thing all paired up and programmed. I've got it linked to the iPad here. So let's unplug it and get it built up into its little case. I put the little SMA connector down in here. The case kind of holds it into place and that screws in. Let's pop this off. It sucks that that broke. Let me grab an antenna off a spare Wi-Fi router I have real quick. Wait a minute, I just realized, oh, these are backwards. So this does not have a center pin. All right, well, I was planning on buying other antennas anyways, but let's pop open the other kit and borrow the antenna from this one. There we go, pin in that one's good to go. We'll screw this on here. Apparently you attach the antenna after this is in here. Okay, our buttons press. It seems to have clicked down in here. All right. Looks like the back of this case kind of holds everything in. It came with little pieces of tape. I bet that, yeah, that's for holding the battery in. Oh look, the thing powered up. These little boards have a built-in lithium charging circuit in them. So that helps out. Make sure our wires are not going to get pinched here. Clickety click, there we go. Suppose we could attach our screen now. See, do our buttons press? They do. Not quite sure what I did. Oh, I hit the reset button there. Let's see if our USB port still works. Oh yeah, that plugs in fine. Look, we got a little charging indicator. Maker Hawk. And one more peel. There we go. So this winds up being about 30 bucks for this, which isn't too bad when you look at the prices of the T-beams and stuff like that. But you can see here, these do not have GPS on here. We're in long fast mode. I think this switches between pages. 4 volts, battery's at 82%. Yeah, I didn't notice that these are the male version as opposed to the female. So there's no center pin, which means I was gonna buy some larger antennas anyways, but I'll have to grab those later and then we should be good. We have a status light blinking down here. Should be able to go back onto our iPad here and select our node. There we go. Now our battery voltage is correct. It's agreeing with what's on the screen. And we can figure out if there's any other nodes in the area, I guess. Oh, there is a power off and reboot. Hang on, let's try that real quick. Reboot node, yes. Sure enough, it reboots. Yeah, see, I was wondering if there was a safe power down option or not. Apparently there is. All right, well, I'm gonna build up the other one, then I'm gonna get them both paired up, and I'll show you some of the things you can do with these, like sending messages back and forth. Again, these just transmit little packets, so you don't have to have like an actual active streaming data connection. It works significantly with significantly lower signal than other things that would communicate like this. But anyways, I'll be right back. Well, I've ordered some more antennas and we're gonna replace these. That one was messed up, so whatever. But we've got them both set up and working now. I just stuck the little like PCB antenna on there. But what's cool is I can send a message, light reflection. I'm gonna send a message here, cheese, because, you know, why not? We'll send that, and then should be able to see that it pops up here on the screen. Now these things are a mesh network, so if there's any others in the area, which I haven't picked up just yet, they'll be able to connect to them and messages will be able to be transmitted from other people through these securely and kind of around all over the place. But my idea is I want to stick one of these on the back of my chair. It's going to be paired with my phone because around here, there's not many people using these, but in a lot of other places I hang out, there are. And it's just kind of a cool, low-key, you know, off-grid communication thing where you can have random conversations with people. Sort of like CB radios, but a little bit more nerdy. The battery life is somewhat unknown. This one's been unplugged for a few minutes and it says it's down to 88%. the screen, oh, you know what? I probably need to set the screen to turn off. Anyways, I'll be back later. I'm gonna keep screwing around with stuff. I discovered that we can connect those little devices via Wi-Fi, and we can access them here on a computer. So this is the web interface here. For whatever reason, the iOS app will not allow TCP connections over Wi-Fi. So when you have this switched on, you can't connect to the iOS app via Bluetooth, but it will still connect on an Android device. Anyways, we have our messages here. We can see our different nodes, and we can send messages back and forth. So if I type something here, then in theory, the node that's connected to my phone should ping. And sure enough, we have the message here, burgers. And if I hit thumbs up on this, there we go, thumbs up, that'll connect to the device and send out over the mesh network a thumbs up. So anyways, kind of cool. Like I was saying, this is just sort of an off-grid communicator thing. I still have a lot to learn and a lot to play around with it. And there's a few different versions too. There's mesh core versus mesh tastic or whatever. But the idea is I'm gonna leave this thing paired to my phone. And as I travel around, it's sort of like a, I don't know, IRL, IRC chat room, if any of those acronyms make sense to you. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Many hours have passed since the last clip, and I'm gonna cut myself off at probably like 9 or 10 o'clock tonight because I could very easily spend hours and hours and hours on this. The little screen's pretty cool though. It'll tell you all the different nodes you're connected to, give you the channel you're on and your battery voltage and all that. I did finally set it up so that the screen goes to sleep after a while, and there's some other stuff you can do too to save power. But anyways, I love playing around with new and random things like this, especially radio communication stuff. I'm very much into a lot of communication stuff. These are all my, well, actually probably about half of my little cheapy radios I've been screwing around with over the past few months since I moved in here. But anyways, it's time for food. I'm gonna go do that. Ignore the 3D printer sounds in the background, but guess who just found another distraction and actually a really cool project. So many years ago, I think in like, I don't know, 2015 or something like that, I was moving and I came across this app on the iPhone back then. It was some sort of kind of inventory management software, but it allowed you to take pictures, label crates, put a number on each crate, put it into the database, have a photo of it. And if I was trying to find something, also I would go through and just kind of type out a list of what items were in that crate, just kind of some generic things, not every single item. But anyways, it allowed me to type something in or look at a crate and reverse look up where an item is that I want, or I could just type it in and see what's in that particular one without pulling it down off the stack. There was an update to iOS after I bought it. I think it was like $50 or something stupid for the app, but the update happened and the app wasn't compatible anymore and the developer was nowhere to be seen. Fast forward to last week, I'm laying in bed watching YouTube and I saw the suggestion for this thing called homebox. This is basically the exact same thing, but modernized. And you can generate QR codes, you can have a bunch of different storage locations. I had to kinda use it off-label a little bit to get contents of crates and photos and stuff. But if I go in here to like bedroom, for example, and then under table, we can see all the crates that are here. Then if I click on one of these, it will show, where is it? There we go. I've got a few photos of each one so I can see what's inside there. Anyways, this is a Docker container that I haven't checked to see what else it runs on. It is like a paid service that you can subscribe to and host it on their servers, I believe, as well. But they have this sort of, I don't know if it's open source or not, but they have this fork that you can install, and it's pretty cool. So you can print off these QR code labels and attach them to certain items. These ones are really big because I'm simply putting them on crates. I think it's more designed for tracking actual inventory items. Like you put a smaller one on each thing you're trying to track. But anyways, I'm gonna be spending hours, if not days, screwing around with this. And I'm super happy to find this software again. There's been other things out there. Like there's one that's called, I think it's Grocery, Grocy, that kind of does it, and it runs in Docker, but it's not really the same thing. Welcome into the other room here. We're working on getting these crates all set up, but we're able to print out these QR codes and attach photos to each thing. So I'm basically opening up each crate, looking to see what's in here, taking a few photos, and oh, that's where the old Apple TV went. But take a few photos, and then I go back later and I can list everything that's in here. But being able to just look at the photo by pulling up the QR code is super handy, and it pulls up the inventory and I can see photos of everything that's in here. Obviously, I'm not going to label every single little thing that's in here, but if I can look at a photo, I know generally what's in each box just from remembering, so it makes it super handy. This homebox thing is sweet. While I've been working on all that, I'm also, where is it? 3D printing, there we go. This Google Home wall mount thing. I've got one in the bathroom and it's kind of taking up counter space, so got this thing running on the printer in here. I believe this particular model was designed by someone in the Netherlands, and I guess the spikes are some reference to something, I don't know, but we got it running on the machine here. It's gonna be probably 3 or 4 hours before it's done, but anyways, I'm keeping myself busy. I was waiting on the antenna replacement for the other one, and Amazon wound up doing that thing where you order something and it says it's going to be next day delivery, but then they just kind of completely forget about that, and they're like, oh yeah, no, that'll be here like, you know, Thursday or something. So what I did was I grabbed another Wi-Fi antenna that I had. Oh, this thing die? Wonder if I screwed something up. I pulled a pin out of a little pin header thing that comes with Arduino and jammed it down in there. So at least for now, I can use one of these, and we actually have one of these with a little bit better range. Apparently it went into deep sleep mode, but this thing sitting over here, I have actually picked up a couple other nodes in the area, so that's kind of neat. Again, these, what would be cool, like, you know, if I had all the money to screw around with things, I would make up a bunch of these in a little solar panel box, and I would create my own little network between here and where a few other friends live. Just kind of like, you know, go mount one somewhere outside where it's out of the way so that your message can hop along and get where you need to go. I haven't done a range test on these just yet. They claim like 1 to 3 miles line of sight, but haven't had a chance to test them. Need a friend to do that. Actually, what's our battery doing on here? Okay, 92%. I need to check the sleep settings on this thing. I think it went into some sort of deep sleep, but anyways, I'm just leaving that there by the window. And yeah, I'm going around and organizing stuff, putting labels on things, boxing up stuff in more crates. Just usual busy work. It's, yeah, lets the time pass, get your brain reorganized. I don't know, whatever. Update on our 3D print. As you can see, this is now complete. And we have our Google Home that is now mounted on the wall, out of the way, because, you know, counter space is always at a premium. Let's see if my arms are long enough to reach over here. There we go. It's just a little cradle thing. Cord goes down through the bottom, and it kind of clips right in there. Perfect.
They gathered kittens with paws so small in a mobile office with ceilings tall. Boxes of fluff with their tiny meows to program wheelchairs, don't ask me how. Oh, kittens on keyboards, chaos unfolds, purring and pawing, stories untold. The wheelchairs spin left, they crash through the halls. No forward, no backward, just feline calls. They hired the fluffiest coders in town, with whiskers twitching and tails hanging down. Their programming skills were a guessing game, but their cuteness made us forget the blame. Oh, kittens on keyboards, chaos unfolds, purring and pawing, stories untold. The wheelchairs spin left, they crash through the halls. No forward, no backward, just feline calls. One cat fell asleep on the escape key. Another got stuck in a cup of tea. The lead kitten chewed through the power cord, and the team was declared a feline horde. Now Promobile wonders where they went wrong. They thought kitten power would carry them strong, but instead they've got chairs that dance in place. With fur in the circuits, it's quite the case.